The wait was finally over as over 40 teams headed to Circuit of the Americas for the opening round of the 2022 ADAC SimRacing Expo Simracing.GP Professional Trophy. On the front row is Unicorns of Love leading the way from pole position ahead of Williams Esports alongside in the front row, followed by Yaz Heat, Triton, GTWR Esports and Veloce rounding at the top 6. Some bumping and boring in the first corner allowed Unicorns of Love in the number 14 to stretch their legs in the first sector, opening up a noticeable gap over the cars behind them. The pack were playing their part in the full accordion setup that Circuit of the Americas likes to give us, stretching out for the first few corners before coming back together again into the heavy braking zones at both turns 8 and 12. This would lead to an incident-filled first hour, as the number 7 for STL Esports narrowly avoiding spun traffic up ahead, giving us a little vaulting display over the sausage curbs as they rejoined the circuit at turn number 11. The early phase of the race saw plenty of teams moving up and down the order, with some superb overtakes and some silly, unforced errors, accumulating in the likes of GTWR Go setups and GTWR Esports 2 and the sister Audi battling out on the circuit. The only Porsche on the grid saw Kramer Racing in the 977 make some moves in the mirrors of certain Audis surrounding it, gaining some significant ground through the first half of the race. BMW G2 Esports would find the going tough at Circuit of the Americas, tussling with the likes of the number 6 STL Esports car in the mid-pack for large phases of the race that durated over 6 hours. The battles would help them out, having initially qualified in 33rd on the grid and take home a couple of points in P14. The sun would begin to set and drivers coming to the end of their stints. We found that Veloce would be battling hard with GTWR and the Team 919 car, and it would end in a nudge and a spin for Veloce into turn 1. But fine display of sportsmanship from Jaroslav Honzik meant the Czech Republic driver would let the other two cars go ahead before he rejoined in the thick of the action. As the light shows began in Texas, GTWR and Carbon SimSport were keeping their attention firmly on the wheel in front of them. Track space was shared, but 2 moments for GTWR's Andrea Capoccia meant that the crowds had something to cheer on over the corners. Eamon Murphy put in a fine display in the number 66 Veloce Audi in the closing stages of the race. Recovering some ground from earlier incidents that the team had lost, they would come home in P5 after great duels for Murphy versus the likes of Rocket SimSports' Alaric Enslin and GTWR's Darren King. Florent Bonjour took advantage of the overspeed in the virtual drivers by TX3 Audi to gain 14th position from the 977 Porsche of Kramer Racing, with the number 72 Audi coming home with a solid run to the checkered flag in 10th place. Kramer, however, would fall further down the order and finish outside of the points in 19th. It was not all singing and dancing, however, because Team 888 suffered technical problems in the last hour, which would take them out of the running for any solid result here in the opening round, with the Audi pulling over to the side and returning to garage. Vipperman Racing allowed faster cars to come on by as they went off the racing line at turn 12. It was a solid first run for the number 11 Audi crew in the professional trophy, as they brought the car home in 21st position, battling through track limit violations and incidents earlier on in the race. Cabana Gaming in the number 7 had a bit of a scare with Geeks Energy Black in the number 17 as darkness set its imposing figure on the race, with the latter ending up spinning in the first sector and the car came to rest on the curbing. Beaver Grease Racing in the number 68, one of our qualifier entrants, fought tooth and nail for points with the BMW G2 machine, with the both cars taking the last 2 points paying positions in 14th and 15th. Time was running out and concentration reaching its limits. The number 71 Audi of Ranvelten cut it fine with West Competition Racing, virtual drivers by TX3 in the closing laps, narrowly avoiding a massive accident. But after 6 hours, it was the checkered flag that everyone was looking forward to seeing. Williams Esports with Tinker van der Velde, Igor Rodriguez and Fidel Moreira taking the final step of the rostrum. On the other hand, second place went to Yaz Heat with George Boothby, Magic Malinovsky and Mikhail Statsenko. However, there was no stopping the dominant Unicorns of Love, with Dennis Schoeninger, Tobias Pfeffer and Michael Tauscher taking the Triple Crown and a race win by 44 seconds here at COTA. Join us on the 20th of August for live coverage of Round 2 of the ADAC SimRacing Expo, Simracing.GP Professional Trophy from the all-conquering Mount Panorama. We'll be live over both ADAC YouTube and Twitch channels. Follow our social medias for the latest updates.